Hi students, welcome back to Greater Chennai Corporation's YouTube channel. Today we are going to deal with Unit 6 poem No Men Are Foreign, written by James Falconer Kirka. Let's look at the poet. James Falconer Kirka, 1918 to 2009, was an English poet, translator and travel writer. He wrote over 30 books, including autobiographies, novels, and plays. Kirkup wrote his first book of poetry, The Drowned Sailor at the Downs, which was published in 1947. His hometown of South Shields now holds a growing collection of his works in the Central Library, and artifacts from his time in Japan are housed in the nearby museum. His first volume of poetry was published during the summer of 2008 by Red Square Press and was launched at a special event at Central Library in South Shields. Now let's know about the basic theme of the poem. All of you read on the poem to know why we must not hate our brothers because they belong to a different country or speak a different language. The poet reminds us of how all people are similar and part of the brotherhood of men. By the end of the poem, we get to know how it is unnatural to fight against ourselves. Let's look at the glossary. Condemn. Condemn means to express complete disapproval. Labor, hard work. Betray, disloyal. Defile, damage the purity or appearance of something. Outrage. Outrage means extremely strong reaction of shock or anger. As I told you in the beginning, the core message of the poem is oneness of mankind, universal brotherhood, unity of human race despite the differences in color, caste, creed, religion, country, etc. Now let's move on to the poem. Remember, no men are strange, no country is foreign. So the very theme of the poem, the very title of the poem, the poet stresses on the point that nobody is strange, no country is foreign for us. All of us belong to the world. Beneath all uniforms, a single body breathes. Children, you all know that people wear uniforms to separate themselves from the other category. To categorize themselves, we wear different uniforms. You see, you wear one particular uniform for your school to represent your school. So, the other school has a different color uniform. Similarly, each nation has a different flag, different emblem. So, each military has a different color. So, the uniform only differentiates one person from the other or one country from the other, but the poet wants to stress on the fact that there is no such discrimination at all. Everybody is one. Each of us are universally one. We belong to the world. Don't separate yourselves according to color, creed, caste, community, religion, country, etc. Inside those uniforms, he wants to stress the point that a human body breathes. All of us are humans basically, whichever country, whichever religion we belong to, we are all humans. All of us possess the common qualities of love, universal brotherhood, oneness. So, remember, no men are strange, no countries foreign. Beneath all uniform, a single body breathes like ours. A single body breathes like ours. The land of our brothers walk upon is earth like this, in which we all shall lie. So the poet again says that, look at this picture. Here there are different children from different countries playing together. The basic feeling that every child has is happiness, joy. See how they are united. They do not discriminate. They do not differentiate the color or creed or nationality. You see how happy these children are. So beneath all uniforms, what is it that is common? The body, the human, a single body breathes. See, look at this picture like us. See, this is a land. God has blessed us all with a land which is common for all. God has not discriminated according to countries or religion. So like us, the land our brothers walk upon, we walk upon this land. Similarly, wherever you are, every human being uses the earth to live. And one day when we shall leave this earth, we all will lie. After death, we will all lie on the same earth. Is earth like this in which we all shall lie? When death overcomes us, we will all lie in the same earth. So why that differentiation? We move on to the next stanza. They too aware of sun and air and water are fed by peaceful harvest, by war's long winter starved. Their hands are ours, and in their lines we read a labor not different from our own. So we share bounties of nature which God has blessed us equally. We all use the same sun which is a universal for all of us, which is common for all of us. It is God's blessing that we all share in common. They here refers to the people of other countries, other races. They too aware of the sun, air and water. However you differentiate people, wherever we live, we use the common sun which is one for all. They too aware of the sun and air and water are fed by peaceful harvest. So for harvest, what do we need? Whether we are here or in a foreign land, we use sun for harvest. For agriculture, we need sun, air and water to live. What are the basic things that we need? We need sun, air and water. Pause, long winter start. Wherever the people are, people work hard, they grow their own crops, they make their own harvest through hard work and they store it for the winter. Similarly, when there is war, whenever there is war, people starve. Okay? So whenever there is winter also, there is no harvest. There is starvation. So the poet actually wants to stress on the point that war brings you starvation. Winter brings you starvation. So there is no need to wage war against each other. We must live in peace. Their hands are ours, and in their lines we read. So just like we have, see here, their hands are ours. There should be unity. We have to be united. Join hands with each other. So they also have hands like ours. There is no differentiation at all. And in their lines, when you look at the lines of your hands, they also have hands which have lines. What does the poet wants to emphasize? Everybody has everything in common. There is no differentiation at all. So they too have hands like us, and in their lines we read a labor not different from our own. See, we work hard for a living. So everywhere in the world people strive hard to make a living. So why discriminate? Why differentiate? When God himself when nature itself has bestowed us with things that are common like the sun and air and water, human beings are only segregating them, differentiating and separate. There is disunity among ourselves because of various reasons created by mean people. Okay? So the poet advises us to live in peace by working hard, because all of us have things in common. We are all brothers. So we move on to the next stanza. Remember, they have eyes like ours. In the previous stanza, the poet said, they have hands like ours. Now he says, they have eyes like ours that wake. So all of us, when you wake up, you open your eyes. When you want to sleep, you close your eyes. So this is common wherever you are. So remember, they have eyes like ours that wake or sleep, and strength that can be won by love. So all of us have a very strong power in us. What is that strong power everybody possesses? Love. Universal factor it is. You can win anything by love. Love is a very powerful weapon that all of us have. It is a strength. It can also be called as a weakness because we yearn for love. And strength that can be won by love. In every land is common life. Whichever land, God created you a world. Human beings separated into countries, villages, cities, etc. In every land is common life that all can recognize and understand. We only differentiate them according to color and creed. But the poet says that in every land, life is common. You can win anything by a greatest strength that we all possess, and that is love. And that we must recognize and we must understand. Children, did you notice that this particular poem, there was no rhyming words or rhyme scheme because the poem is written in free verse, because the lines continue to the next line. The meaning of the line is sometimes continued in the next line. For example, you see, and strength that can be won by love. So the meaning is continued in the next line. So there is no particular rhyme scheme followed by the poet. It is written in free verse. It is also called as enjambment. Okay. Let's move on to the next stanza. Let us remember, whenever we are told to hate our brothers, it is ourselves that we shall dispossess, betray, condemn. Remember, we who take arms against each other. Let us remember, whenever we are told to hate our brothers, we shouldn't. We should only love each other. If at all we hate our own brothers, it is ourselves that we shall dispossess. Dispossess means to lose. We will lose our brothers and sisters through hatred. We will betray, we cheat them, we condemn them by hating. So there is no point in hating at all. We should never do at any cost. So our basic mission in life should be to love each other, to stay connected, to be united, to stay happy, to take care of each other without any boundaries. The entire world is yours. You should consider each other as human beings, not by any country or state or religion or caste or community or creed. So let us remember, whenever we are told to hate our brothers, it is ourselves that we shall dispossess, betray, condemn. Remember, we who take arms against each other. Arms here refers to weapons. If you take weapons against each other, you destroy yourselves. You disappoint yourself. You lose your own brothers and sisters. You are creating destruction. So remember, we who take arms against each other, it is the human earth that we define. Our hells of fire and dust outrage the innocence of air that is everywhere our own. Remember, no men are foreign and no countries strange. It is the human earth that we define. In the previous stanza, you completed with the last line where the poet said, remember, we who take arms against each other, if we take arms, weapons and fight, what are weapons? Guns, cannons, missiles, bombs. etc. So if you take arms against each other, it is the human ear that you defile. What is the meaning of defile we saw in the glossary? Yes, very good. We damage the purity and appearance of the earth. When you throw a bomb or when you shoot your own brothers, you are not at peace. You are destroying the earth created by God. You are creating destruction. You are demolishing. So it is the human earth that we defile. Are hells of fire and dust outrage the innocent. See, hells of fire. So what do you see? What is hell made of? Hell, we all know, is made of fire. So when you raise arms against you, when you throw bombs or when you destroy your own brothers by waging wars, you create hells of fire and there is dust, outrage. Outrage means created through anger, extreme anger, strong anger, and that will put an end to the innocence of love, care, kindness, happiness. Everything is destroyed. Okay? So what should we do? We have to stay in unity. Our hells of fire and dust outrage the innocence of air that is everywhere our own. It is your own land, your own air that you are polluting because of the dust. And the entire earth is filled with dead bodies and the earth is polluted. You are causing pain to your own brothers. When one person is lost in the war, the entire family is destroyed, is gone. So because of you, because of one country, the other country is destroyed. Neither you are at peace nor they are at peace. So it is better, it is that you live in harmony. Remember, no men are foreign, nobody is foreign, and no country is strange. So children, the very first line the poet said, remember, no men are strange. In the first line of the poem we saw, the poet said, remember, no men are strange. But in the last line, he ends with the same note saying, no men are foreign and no country is strange. Only the words are exchanged. The poet is repeating the point that no men are foreign and no country is strange. In the entire poem, the poet has repeated the word remember 5 times. Why? To stress on the readers that it is very important that we have to be united. We shouldn't treat anybody as foreign and no country is strange. Is it clear, children? Now let's move on to the figures of speech, the literary devices. The first figure of speech that we'll see is metaphor. What is a metaphor, children? An expression that describes a person or object by referring to something that is considered to possess similar characteristics. Here, instead of saying that war brings hell, the poet says hells of fire. You destroy. What does fire do? Fire brings everything to ashes. Nothing is left. It destroys. It brings to zero. There are only ashes left. Similarly, when wars are waged, what happens? There is fire. There are bomb shells dropped. There is loss of human beings. There is loss of life. There are dead bodies everywhere. So it becomes a hell. So there is an indirect comparison. That is what is a metaphor. Is it clear, children? We next move on to the next figure of speech. That is alliteration. What is alliteration? You are very familiar with it? Yes, very good. Excellent. Repetition of consonant sounds in successive or nearby words. Look here. This line, remember, no men are strange, no country is foreign. N is repeated. No is repeated. In the next line, beneath, body, breathes. So B is the same consonant sound is repeated. That is alliteration. Like, land, L, L, R's, R, is, in, like, lie, L, L, which, we, W, W is repeated. So this is a fine example of alliteration. We next move on to simile. What is simile? Excellent. Simile, yes, is a word or phrase that compares something to something else using the word like and as. Here this is also a comparison, but with the help of words like and as. Example, remember they have eyes like ours, like. So they have eyes which are similar to our eyes. So this is an example of simile. We next move on to the next figure of speech, transferred epithet. It's very, very important. This will be asked in your appreciation question for 1 mark. What is a transferred epithet? Epithet you have already learned in where? Very good. Complaining street in Grumble family. So here is transferred epithet, means the epithet is transferred. Now let's look what it is. A transferred epithet is a figure of speech where an adjective or epithet describing a noun is transferred from the noun it is meant to describe another noun in the sentence. When we look at the example, it will be clear. They too, aware of the sun and air and water, are fed by peaceful harvest, by war's long winter starved. Starved is an epithet. What is an epithet in this sentence? Starved is an epithet which is placed beside the noun winter. Winter starved. Winter starved together. Okay. However, it does not describe the winter as being starved. Children, please listen. It is not describing the winter as being starved, but describe the pronoun they. Though it is placed next to winter, it does not refer to winter as being starved, but it refers to this pronoun they. Historically, many wars were fought during the winter. While harvest season was essentially peaceful, they refers to the soldiers in uniform who had to starve during winter while fighting for their land. Is it clear, children? We next move on to the next figure of speech, repetition. What is a repetition? A repetition refers to the use of the same word or phrase multiple times in the poem, and it is a fundamental poetic technique. In this poem, James Kirkup repeats the word remember. I told you how many times? 5 times in the poem. Why? To emphasize the serious message that he has to convey. This repetition, no men are strange, no country is foreign, emphasizes the core message. What? Yes, oneness of mankind. Okay, universal brotherhood. So, the example is, remember no men are strange, no country is foreign. Remember, no men are foreign, no country is strange. Is it clear? Now we move on to the most important part, the appreciation questions. Okay? Beneath all uniforms, a single body breathes like us. The land our brothers walk upon is earth like this in which we all shall lie. What is found beneath all uniforms? Though the outward appearance of the people may change because of the difference in attire, that is in the uniform, there is an inherent similarity between all human beings. All people live and breathe in the similar fashion. We live on the same earth, we breathe the same air. Militaries in the world may wear different uniforms, but they comprise of human beings who essentially are the same anywhere in the world. Okay? What is same for every one of us? When we die, we all shall meet this same earth in the end, where we shall be buried in it the same way. Where are we all going to lie finally? The poet says that at the end of our respective lives, we all shall lie buried in the same earth. He means to draw our attention to the common fate that awaits us regardless of our nationality. The second question. They too aware of the sun, air and water are fed by peaceful harvest, by war's long winter starved. What is common for all of us? Yes, very good. Sun, air and water. How are we fed? We, the people of the world, are nourished and nurtured, especially by the elements of nature, like I told you. What are the basic things that we needed? Sun, air and water. Enjoying the harvest in peaceful time and dreading starvation caused by long drawn wars. Mention the season that is referred here, winter. The next question, their hands are ours and in their lines we read, a labor not different from our own. Who does their refer to? Their refers to the other people of the world whom we consider as strange and foreign. Should we do it? No, we shouldn't. Okay, we shouldn't think them as strange and foreign. What does the poet mean by lines we read? The poet by the words lines we read means that their destiny is similar to ours. The lines of their hands also show their capacity of doing hard work or labor like we do. What does not differ? Labor, hard work does not differ. Wherever we are, to earn a living, to have a happy life, you need to work hard. So labor does not differ. The next question. Let us remember whenever we are told to hate our brothers, it is ourselves that we shall dispossess, betray, condemn. Who tells us to hate our brothers? The opportunist, the leaders, the politicians craving for power and authority. In short, the selfish people to retain their power sometimes or to bring discrimination, religious disharmonies, who control all wartime affairs, tell us to hate our brothers. But what should we do instead? We have to love each other. What happens, children, when we hate our brothers? When we hate our brothers, we hate ourselves unknowingly. Sometimes there is a fight between you and your friends. You try to hurt them, but instead you feel very hurt. Unless you are at peace with your friend, you are never happy because it keeps haunting your mind. Okay? So always love. Try to be at peace with each other. Okay? So when we hate each other, we hate ourselves unknowingly. What do we do to ourselves? We dispose and be disloyal to ourselves, expressing complete disapproval of our deeds. The last question. Are hells of fire and dust outrage the innocence of air that is everywhere our own? Remember, no men are foreign and no countries strange. What outrages the innocence? War, hatred, enmity, okay, which is futile, spoiling the very earth with hells of fire and dust outrages the innocence. Who are not foreign? Any human being who breathe the same air are not foreign. That means there is nobody who is foreign. All of us are one. Oneness of mankind is stressed. What is not strange? The world which becomes more difficult place to live in, and any country in this world is not strange at all. We next move on to the summary of the poem. The poem, No Men Are Foreign, begins and ends with the same line. Remember, no men are strange, and no countries foreign, as the poet wants to emphasize on the fact that all people living on this earth are the same, and that we have created distinctions by erecting borders and fences, different languages, different communities, etc. It is we who have created. God created the world as an entire globe without any borders. We have created borders, fences. While we are alive, we walk on the same earth. What is common? Earth is common. When we live, all of us, wherever we are, when we are alive, we walk on the same earth, and upon our death, we will lie in our graves in the same earth. When we think deeply on this one particular point, we will never have any differences at all. We will never hate anybody. We will love each other. He draws another similarity that we all enjoy good food during peace and starve during war and in winter time. So what should be avoided? War. We can live in peace all the time. The next point is we have all similar hands. Our hands are similar. Why did God create hands? To hold each other, to work hard, to care for each other. Okay? We have all similar hands which we use to do a lot of hard work. All of us have eyes which remain open when we are awake and closed when we are asleep. Okay? He reminds the reader that whenever we hate someone, what do? We cheat by hating ourselves, by hating and hurting ourselves. Also, when we pick up weapons against someone, we pollute the earth. How? By making it impure, by killing people, bloodshed. Bloodshed creates hatred. And make it impure with the huge mounds of dead bodies strewn on this beautiful earth. Children, I hope you understood the poem, the core message conveyed through the poem, that we have to live in peace, no war, no hatred, love each other. As students, as young children of the nation, I feel that it is a very important message and it is the need of the hour. It is said that the destiny of a nation is shaped in its classrooms. The children are the architects of the nation. So when you are a good citizen of your country, you will definitely develop brotherhood. It is very important for all of you to remember, as the poet has said, that you have to treat everyone with love and care. Children, we have almost covered all the appreciation questions from your textbook. Go through the poem again and try to work out the same questions which are there on page number 180, 181, and there is a detailed note on literary devices on page number 181, and there is a gist on page number 182. See you in the next class. Bye till then. Have a lovely day.